Okay, we're ready. Good afternoon, everyone, again. So today we're gonna have we're gonna continue with the class we started yesterday. I'm gonna share the screen so we can go to the to where we were. So it says in here vocabulary time markers. Let me zoom out, and it says read sentences from 1 to 6 from the article in exercise 2A and underline the markers. Okay, it says, in the near future, we may be able to communicate in any language we choose. Number 2, read it, Grecia, please.
In only a year or two, the machines, which will be healthy, could come on the market.
Thank you. Karina, read the number 3, please.
Under big development probably won't be ready in the short term.
Thank you. Sophia, number 5. No, number 4, please. Sofía,
Miss, creo que a Sofía no le sirve el micrófono.
Yeah, I remember. Mariana, thank you. Number 4, Mariana, please.
In the long term, there is hope that the 3D printers will make copies of body parts.
Jonathan, 5.
Full immersion virtual reality will be with us in perhaps 10 to 20 years time.
Okay, and Samantha, number 6, please.
In the next 30 years, climate change is going to seriously affect traditional farming.
Okay, very good. Well, what does it refer to time markers? As the word says, it is something related to the time. So a time marker is that word or few words that tell us something related to the time. For example, in the first one, what word or what words tell you about time or indicate something related to the time?
Near future.
Exactly, in the near future. So I'm going to underline it. In the near future. Number 2, which of the sentences or words tells you about time in the second one?
In only a year or two.
Very good, in only a year or two. In the number 3?
In the short term.
Exactly, in the short term. Number 4?
In the long term.
Exactly, in the long term. 5?
20 years time.
Perhaps 10 to 20 years in 20 years time. And number 6, what about number 6?
In the next 30 years.
Very good. So just for you to have these notes, I wanted to write these words that I underlined under the title of time markers. Okay, so you can write time markers examples and write down the sentences we just underlined. Okay?
Okay.
So just like taking notes, time markers examples, and then make this list with the examples. Tell me when you finished with them, please.
¿Cómo?
Just put a title, time markers examples, and then write down the sentences that are underlined from 1 to 6.
Okay.
Okay. finished?
Yes.
Okay, now it says, look at the time markers again. Which of them mean soon? And which of them mean in a long time? Which name a future date or time period? Okay, so from the ones that we underline here, which of them mean soon? That is something that's gonna happen soon.
No serían in the short term.
Okay, and another, there are two. In a short term is one of them. What could be another one?
In the near future.
In the near future, okay. And I think we still have one more. I thought there were two, but I think there are three. In the near future, in the short term, what else? One more.
Sí tenía el micro prendido.
No.
No sería el de in only a year or two.
So 1, 2, and 3 are referring to a short future or a near future, as in the first one says. So it means that it's going to happen soon. Therefore, in the long term, 10 to 20 years, and in the next 30 years mean something that will happen in a long time, right? So the first three in a short time, and the last three in a long time. Okay, well, which of these time markers name a future date, a date or time period? Which of these ones are showing a time period? I mean, I've been more specific.
Okay, so in the next 30 years, no?
Number 5. Oh, no, sorry, number 6.
In only a year or two.
In only a year or two, in the next 30 years. And also the number 5, 10 to 20 years time, because we're being specific. Okay, now, let me erase. And here it says, answer the questions using time markers given. Will you still live in the same place, A, in the near future, or B, in 10 years time? What do you think? Will you still live in the same place in the near future or in 10 years time?
Maybe in the near future.
Near future, Number 2, what projects will you work on in the short term or in the long term? This is according to you, right? So what projects will you work on in the short term? Which one will you work on the short term? What projects will you work on in the short term?
Finishing my career.
Okay. And in the long term, Leslie?
I think maybe putting like a place of my own, like a dentist place.
Terminar la carrera.
In a long term or short term?
In the short term.
Short term, right. Very good. How many years? It's because your career is semesters, so it's 4 or 5 years.
Son 4 y uno de servicio.
And you are in the 4th year?
Más especialidad.
Cuarto semestre van, right? 4th semester.
Sí, 4.
Okay, number 3. Will your working life as a student change in the next 5 to 10 years or in a year or two? Think of yourself in the next 5 or 10 years and in a year or two. Well, let's start with the first one. Will your working life as a student change in the next 5 to 10 years? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. And what about in a year or two? In a year or two, you'll still be as a student, right? So it won't change that much. So
Ajá, todavía seguimos en la
Ah.
carrera.
in a year or two, you'll still be students, and in the next 5 or 10 to 10 years, you won't be students no more. Okay. Now it says in here, grammar, the future predictions. Read the extracts from the article. Are the predictions certain C or possible P? So we're just gonna read and you're gonna tell me at the end when we finish reading them, if they are just possible or if they are certain, which means that it's like something real, something that will happen. Okay, so let's read them. Leslie, help me to read number 1, please, which is already answered.
We may be able to communicate in any language we choose. Possible.
It's possible, right? Number 2, Karina, can you read it, please?
In only a year or two, the handles could come on the market.
Okay. At the end, we're gonna decide, okay? Number 3, I only have, how many students do I have here? 8. Okay, let's see. Samantha, number 2, please.
Two or
Three, que no?
3, yeah, 3, sorry.
It is likely to save millions of lives. It's possible.
Yeah, but at the end, we're gonna, once we finish reading them all, we're gonna decide with the words that we have highlighted. Thank you. Jonathan, 4.
Leo,
Yes, please.
climate change is going to seriously affect traditional farming.
Okay, thank you. Grecia, number 5.
El pollo. Apartment buildings and skyscrapers will have gardens.
Okay, thank you. So as you can see here, we have some words underlined. We have may, could, it is likely, is going to, and will. Okay, so we have to decide according to these words that we have highlighted if they are certain or if they are possible. So the first one, it's already answered and it says that it's possible, and the key word is may. And remember that may is to talk about just possibilities, nothing sure. Okay, number 2, could. What do you think? Possible or certain?
Possible.
Possible, right? Very good. Let me write the P here. Possible. Number 3, it says it is likely.
¿Ese también lo tenemos que apuntar?
Not yet. No, not this exercise. We're gonna work with it. Okay, it is likely. What do you think? Is likely? It tells you that it's possible or is certain?
Certain, yes.
Possible.
It's possible. Let's say that is likely. It's like a synonym of possible. So if you said, for example, that something is likely to happen, it means that it's possible to happen. Okay, number 4 says, is going to seriously affect. Is going to seriously affect. What do you think?
Certainly.
Which means that it is actually going to happen. And next one, we'll have gardens.
Certain.
Certain too, exactly. Okay. Give me a minute, please. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back, sorry. Well, we're talking about possibilities and that, right? So it says, look at the underlined words above and complete the roots with will, could, to, or be. Okay, so for the example in the first one that it's already answered says, we use will plus infinitive without to make predictions about the future. So we already know that will is used to talk about something that I just decided at the moment of speaking. Last week we were working with the future terms. La semana pasada estuvimos trabajando con este tema del will, del going to, y el present continuous also, o sea, cómo hablar de futuras situaciones. Entonces el will también se utiliza, además de que lo hago cuando es algo que acabo de pensar o es algo que acabo de planear, también it is also used to make predictions about the future. So that's why it says will plus infinitive. For example, will go, will rain, will see, etc. Okay, number 2, we use going to plus infinitive without to make predictions when there is present evidence. What does this mean? That if I use a going to for a prediction, it means that I have the evidence and it's sure that it's going to happen. So what is missing in this line in order to complete the sentence?
Oh,
No sería
Ajá.
be.
Be going to, yes. Be going to. Number 3 says, we use may or plus infinitive without to say something that is possible but not certain. So, we use may or might, pero aquí no es a might. Entonces, another one that could also be helpful is
Cold.
could. Very good. Number 4, we use likely plus infinitive with, which is the one that I have left, with to, likely to say, likely to do, likely to happen. To say something that is probably to happen, which is the same as possible to happen. Okay, don't copy anything yet. We're gonna go to the language bank and I'm gonna ask you to please take some notes, okay? So we're talking about the future and predictions. So here it says, use will to make predictions. Okay, first we're gonna read it and then we're gonna ask you to take some notes, okay? So use will to make predictions. Samantha, can you read the examples of will, please?
¿Cuáles? Use will to make predictions. Smartphones will organize our lives. She's so talented that I'm sure she'll become famous. ¿Esto
Okay.
no? ¿O le sigo?
Wait, I just wanted to explain something. So we ought to make predictions because we're just thinking that it's a possibility. So we're predicting it according to what had happened. I mean, we have kind of evidence. It's nothing in the present, but with the experience we have, we can predict it. So we often use I think and I hope with will. For example, Samantha, continue, please.
I think John will become a doctor, and she hopes she will work in the theater.
Very good. So as you can see, will is also used to predict and to talk about things that you want to do, that you think or you hope that will happen. Now, going to, Karina, please be going to in the examples.
Lo azulito.
Everything.
Okay, use be going to make predictions when there is present evidence. We only have 2 cars. It's going to be difficult to take 11 people tomorrow. We use probably to make the prediction less certain. Probably usually comes after will. Le sigo, ¿verdad? Acá.
Yeah, but make a pause, please, because those are different topics, yeah. Okay, so here it says we have the be going to, and it says in here to make predictions when is present evidence, which means that I'm sure that is going to happen because I have reference, and I know that it's like 100% sure that this will happen, okay? Next, we have probably with will. For example, now Karina, please, here we have the other examples, the blue and these other two, please.
Okay, probably comes after to be when we use it with be going to. A readers are probably going to become shaper.
Very good. So it says in here that we use it, it's to make the prediction less certain. The dollar will probably get stronger. I mean, it's a possibility, I'm predicting it, but it's not that sure that it will happen. And probably comes after to be when we use it with the going to. If readers are probably going to become cheaper, this is like more possible than this one. But at the end, both of them are predictions. I'm just talking about something of the future that I consider has possibilities, right? But with the going to, it's more likely to happen than just with will. Now, may and might. Jonathan,
Yo.
please. I'm sorry.
No, que lea el Jonathan.
You'll be next.
Okay.
Use might or might to make predictions that are less certain. The negative forms are may, not, and might not. Le sigo.
Yes, please.
Some of our workers may lose their jobs because of the restructuring. We might not go away this year because we don't have any money.
Very good. So may or might are exactly the same, and they are used, well, let's say that the might is actually less, but at the end, both of them are expressing something that is not that probable to happen. I mean, it's just less certain. And the negative form is may not or might not. As we have in here, some of our workers may lose their jobs, or we might not go away. It's something that, well, it's very hard to happen. Next, we have could. I know that could is also the past tense of can, but could, talking about predictions, what does it mean or how can I use it? Go ahead, Grecia, please.
Cold. Use cold to make predictions that are less certain. Global warming could destroy large parts of Asia in the next 13 years.
Huh? So here I'm just talking about a possibility, right? I'm not telling you that this is like gonna happen tomorrow or that it will happen in a specific time. I'm just telling you that it is a possibility. I don't know if it's hard or not, or it's I don't know why. I'm not being exact about when this is going to happen. I'm just telling you that it is a possibility. It says less certain because, as I said, I'm not telling you when, or I'm not sure that this is going to happen. Next one, be likely to. Who wants to read?
Yo.
Go ahead.
Be likely to. Use be likely to make predictions when something is probably. The negative is be unlikely to or not be likely to. Uh, Carrie, Carrie is likely to be late because she works until 7. We're unlikely to reach Portland before lunch because of all the traffic. Are you likely to be hungry later? Le sigo el otro.
Please.
Likely, unlikely are adjectives. Will we start at 5? It's unlikely.
Okay. So what does this mean? That, as the word says, be likely to means that something is probable. So it's likely to be late. Why? Because she'll be working, so it's probable. This is like a strong possibility. And then it says in here, spoken grammar. Might is more common than may in a spoken English, and may is a little bit more formal. So, well, what do you want? What do I want you to do, guys? I want you to take notes of this. I'm not expecting you to write every single sentence from this information that I have in here, but maybe to write will and an example, be going to and an example, and like that. Okay?
Sería como will, no apuntamos lo negro, solo will.
Well, yes, I mean, will, be going to, may and might, could, likely to, that, and an example. You mean like, this sentence uses will to make predictions. Up to you. If you consider necessary to write it, go ahead. If you consider that with an example it's enough, just write down an example. Okay, but just don't write it all. I'll give you, I don't know, we have 8 minutes left. I'll give you this time left for you to take these notes, and I'll take attendance while you do it, okay?
Okay.
So, Alvidres Prado.
Present.
Ceballos López. Coronado Ortiz.
Present, teacher.
Cruz Álvarez.
Present.
Gámez Carrizosa. Gutiérrez Yepis. Hernández Andalón.
Sofía no tiene micro.
Thank you. Martínez Grijalva. Miranda Valenzuela.
Presente.
Ramírez Padilla. And Villa Osuna.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And well,
Miss,
yes,
fui al baño.
okay. Well, please again take notes, and we're gonna start another session to continue.